In the exciting world of hot hatches, my belief has always been that the Golf GTI is the top of the game. If you're talking front wheel drive, turbocharged, exciting cars, VW have come out with the new MK8 GTI that I've been given for the day thanks to the guys at Esplanade on the Isle of Wight. The real question is this as good as I want it to be? I am a huge Golf GTI fan. The idea of a front wheel drive, exciting, comfy, do-it-all car is really why I have enjoyed previous generations of the GTI. This new GTI, based on the Mark 8 platform, shares the same 2-litre turbocharged engine from the previous Mark 7 generation GTI, producing 245 brake horsepower and being front wheel drive. The 245 brake horsepower is the same power that you would get from the performance variant of the previous VW Golf GTI. Although you can get this car in a manual, today we have been given the 7-speed DSG. I'm a firm believer that the GTI is fantastic in the manual variant, but today I really want to prove myself wrong and enjoy this DSG. First things first though, the styling. I'm a fan of the front. I think it's aggressive. I think it looks really angry from the front end. And as you can see, I've actually put all of the lights on because the GTI now comes with a light going all the way across the front of the car, exactly in line with the red pinstripe that goes throughout the lights and through the front grille. I also love the idea of the fog lights on this car. Arranged in a 5-dot lighting system, the front fog lights, when they are on with the headlights, create this awesome new age angry styled car from the front end. I think the proportions of this car are just right. Although the new GTI only comes in a 5-door, I think the variant that I have today with the DSG box and the 5 doors is going to be the most popular in the GTI. A few other styling points are that the rear of the car has the twin exhaust tips, GTI logoing in the center of the boot lid, and some other performance aesthetics around the car. This one is finished in black, so it does hide a couple of the lines that I would like to point out, but I still think it is a very good looking car, especially from the front end. This is up for debate in the comment section, so please, again, as always, leave a comment below. Inside is a comfy place to sit with the old school vibe of the GTI coming in through the tartan seats, and the overall seating position creates a sense of occasion just by stepping in this car. For me, I do like the touchscreen system in this car. Although there isn't too many buttons on the interior, there is around 19 on the steering wheel. For day-to-day use, if you were to actually buy this car, that does create a sense of ease when you're wanting to turn the adaptive cruise control on and skip through radio stations. Other things to point out are the ambient lighting inside. Although you can't see it in the day, does create a really good atmosphere within the car. In front of the driver, you have the virtual cockpit with a few different modes. My personal favourite is the GTI screen, which shows your gear, mile per hour, and various other things. It's really easy to use, just like the rest of the VW range, and just like previous GTIs, you can turn the mode over from Eco all the way through into Sport mode. As ever in all of the Golfs previously, there is a large boot and seating for 5 adults within the car. But enough talking, let's go and drive this thing. As previously stated in other car videos of Golf GTIs in the past, I'm a huge Golf GTI fan. I think it is the more natural, exciting, visceral experience from a hot hatch. I understand there's a lot of people out there be like, what are you talking about? For me, it is about the lower power front wheel drive cars that create more excitement. Does this create that for me though? That's the real question. Again, being a Golf GTI fan, and I would say quite openly, I have done in the past, I think the GTI generation is better than the R generation for feel, for excitement, for, you know, throwing it round a B road. Does this Mark 8 give me the same silly aspect again in this car? Let me know below if you've driven one of the newer generation GTIs, and do you agree? So, power, 245 brake horsepower. Drivetrain is through the front wheels, and today we've got the DSG. As I've already said, I would opt for a manual if I was to drive it today on this shoot. if I was buying one of these, I'd go for the DSG. That's just down to personal preference. Again, as I want my hot hatch, or at least my warm hatch, like a GTI, I want it to do everything. Now the turbo lag, or lack of turbo lag, because of course I do actually own something that has horrendous turbo lag, so I know a lot about it. It's slightly there, right? I agree, there is slight turbo lag, but I think that's there for a reason, and I personally really like it. It sort of harps back in a weird way to the original cars with, you know, not as much low down power. Of course you could map this out if you were to buy one of these and modify it. It creates a little bit more of an old school feel, which is what I've said in previous GTI videos that I've done, and cars that I've driven like this. It creates a little bit more excitement, and it's really hard to explain that, because you go back, you know, to your older generation cars, your older GTIs, and although they're, you know, slightly heavy and all this sort of stuff compared to their competitors, it always was a good experience. And when you do turn it all off, it was a lovely car to be in. This is exactly that car, but the newer version, which of course is obvious. It should be the newer version of the older car, but a lot of cars that I get in these days, or especially newer ones, have, you know, 300, 400, 500 horsepower, and they're up in the 50, 60, 70,000 pound benchmark, which is insane. This isn't that car, and that's why I love it so much. I think this is why I love the whole GTI idea, and the naming and the branding, and the fact that VW in a sense have capped the idea that this should be fun without loads of money being spent. This should be fun with, you know, less brake horsepower. 245, that's low these days. That's really, really low for a hot hatch. But today, yes, I'd like to modify cars and I'd put, you know, bits and bobs on this thing. I can't see you getting bored of it, which is a big statement, because of course a lot of people out there are like, yeah, my car's 400 horsepower. It's really hard to gauge a sense of complete with a car like that. I can use all of this power as much as I can use today very, very easily. I can enjoy this thing at that power. I can enjoy the front wheels fighting in trying to get that power on the ground. That gives me as a driver a better experience, and that's why I always say front wheel drive cars, you know, 2-litre turbocharged engines or around that, are always the most exciting. You're not stabbing your foot down and, you know, doing a million miles an hour into a corner. You're dropping gears and throwing it about with your foot flat to the floor. There's something about that that creates a little bit more excitement for me. And I think this is where the new GTI has hit the nail on the head for me personally. Pricing, you know, 30, 35,000 pounds. If you want to spec it up, it will be more. It's okay talking about that sort of price range, but I looked at a lease deal on one of these just before I jumped in it. It was around 6 to 9 months down, and it was £250 a month. That is a bargain for this car. It literally does everything. It is exciting, it is fun, it is comfortable, heated steering wheel, I'm going to put that on. It is sort of everything you want in your daily hot hatch. And again, it's going to be hard for some people to understand why I'm saying that, because I am a GTI fanboy through and through. That's just what I'm into. But this does create that fun side, that, you know, old school feel. There is a definite old school feel in this car. Of course, there are a few negatives in every car, so we're going to quickly go through them, because there will be people out there that actually want to go and buy this car and they want to know about the, not necessarily negative, but the slight about me driving this car today. The thing I will say though is it only comes in a 5-door. If you like buttons, there is no buttons apart from the ones on the steering wheel. This for me, again, as I've already said in this video, isn't actually too bad. If you're actually daily driving this car, which I think 90% of people out there are just going to drive this thing, they're not going to throw it around a track and worry about where the button placement is. They're going to find it really appealing and easy to actually just flick through everything on the steering wheel. There isn't too much button clutter, I'm going to call it, in the center console, because it's pretty much all on the steering wheel. I think in years to come it will be a definite contender for something in my personal garage. As a brand new car, I think if you're going to lease one of these and you can, you know, get away with enjoying it on a daily basis and throwing it around some B roads and then doing a comfy motorway drive. And to the people out there that may not like the GTIs and would just say, no, that's a poor man's version of the R, I would just go for the R. I understand there is a lot of people out there that would just go for an R. For me, it is all about the drive of a GTI. I drive a lot of cars. I own a four-wheel drive Audi RS3. I sometimes get more of a driving experience from these front-wheel drive German cars. So guys, what are your thoughts on the Mark 8 GTI? And could you please, if you've got this far in the video, could you please let me know below if you like this style of video? I've changed a little bit of the editing and the style of video that I've actually shot today. I'm really excited to see your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you again to Esplanade for letting me drive this car today. I'm a huge fan. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you all on the next one.